The European segment of the 2020 season begins now, with round 5 of the season here at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya in Spain. This race being the first chance for any teams to then fast track upgrades to bring the first real upgrade packages of the season. And all the teams now have had a good few races to look at all the other concepts by other teams, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see a few of the other design concepts magically manage to appear on some of the cars throughout this weekend. That's what Red Bull have looked to do. After a rather dismal start to the season, the Austrian outfit looked to have added a significant amount of downforce to their cars and looks to finally kick out their season, although they've got a lot of ground to make up on Toyota. They won't get anywhere close to their standings. Meanwhile, Toyota though, so confident with their package that they haven't actually brought any upgrades for this weekend. The Japanese outfit having a clear advantage and looking to save a cost as much as possible in order to develop their car for 2021. Williams though further brings some upgrades as the team finally look to try and get on the board with some consistent results, knowing that the championship already is out of target. They're looking to score as high a place as they can in the championship. Hey guys, Renault here. Welcome back to Formula 1, this time for round 5 here at Spain. It's going to be a rather wet start to the race for the first wet set. Well, I think it's actually the first wet session at all. Isn't good. I don't think we've had any practice or qualifying so far been in the wet. You can get a first look here at the grid. We've got our teammate K-Mag down in P13, so upgrades for K-Mag not working out too well. You have a look at Massachusetts, they're starting from P4, so roundabout where you would be expecting the Toyota Hasses to qualify. But now they're coming onto the formation lap. You can get a first look here at the grid of the first few rows of cars they managed to pull away. And in the dry session, we managed to just about nab pole from Nico Hulkenberg in the runner, so a different front row to what we've come to expect. And then come the two Toyotas in P3 and P4 for Hamilton and Matsushita, with Verne in P5 and the second Renault ahead of Verstappen in P6, with his teammate Albon there in P7. They have the lead Ferrari, Sebastian Vettel, say up in P8, given how their car has been so far this year, with Haryanto in 9th and Mick Schumacher rounding off the top 10. And we have last year's winner, Dani Kvyat, down in 11th place, ahead of Sergio Sotocamara in the lead of the AlphaTauris from P12. We've got our teammate K-Mag P13, ahead of the second Williams of Latifi in 14th, with the second Ferrari of Charles Leclerc down in P16, ahead of the lead of the Aston Martins here, as you can see now, of Sergio Perez in 16th place, with the second AlphaTauri of Gasly in 17th, Lando Norris in P18. Stroll and you can quite see where the car was there on the back row. Looking onto us, starting from pole position, our first pole I think for Alfa Romeo, and it came at a circuit where I really wasn't expecting it. Don't know how I managed to pull out the lap of my life there, and since we got a wet session as well, I definitely needed to get that pole position because there's no way otherwise I would stand any chance of getting anywhere near the front in this race. We're lining up here now in our grid spot. We've got Hulkenberg, Hamilton, Matsushita all around us, so I'm not expecting to be in front of any of these cars coming down into turn 1. Well, wouldn't be in the dry, but in the wet it's a whole different situation, so maybe this car might actually be somewhat decent in the wet starts. And now coming to the far red light for the start of the Spanish Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. And it's a pretty okay start from us. We managed to actually block off the two Toyotas behind us. Now we're going side by side with Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg's got the leg on the outside. Now the Toyotas finding a gap now, trying to make a move past both of us now into turn 1. And they both managed to clear. So Hulkenberg now leads the race. We're down into P4, maybe even P5 with the Rebels looking feisty. Verstappen there up the inside line and shaking side by side with the Dutchman. But then we want to go side by side through here in the wet, and Verstappen managed to get us as well. And drop down into P5, which I think even in the dry that would have honestly been what happened anyway. This car is absolutely useless to try and get his tyres up to temperature off the start. And then we got the defending world champion Mick Schumacher now all over the back, who's looking very interested in that Williams. The upgrades seem to be working well, of course, with the wet race. It's all about the driver and much less so about the car. As we saw from back in 2016, we had Will Stevens in the Manor in like 9th or 10th place for the majority of the race before the team screwed him over in the pit, so he could have definitely got points that day. And looking back to up front, you got Hulkenberg leading the way. For Renault, definitely could be on for their first victory since 2016, the first of this season as well. With the Toyota and Renault cars looking very similar from the front now anyway, so So teams will definitely start to be copying other teams as the season goes on. We drop down as well into P5. We're still keeping in touch with the cars in front of us, so as I say keeping in touch, you can barely even see the car in front of you. I mean, if it wasn't for the racing line, I would have no idea where Verstappen was in front, because I can't even see the rain line, there's that much spray at the minute. But I say fair play to the stewards and the FIA that letting us actually go racing in the work, because in the past we've seen we drive around on the safety car until it's basically bone dry. And around the final corner, we've lost a lot of time there to Verstappen in front, because being in the wet, Verstappen's going to look to use the upgrades, Red Bull's upgrades to advantage to Hulkenberg because of the first lap of the race, which is no surprise since he's leading. And he was about 3 seconds quicker than us now. We've got Mick Schumacher looking very interested behind us there. The Honda powered, the Williams look working well, but we just got enough straight speed to defend from the German. We had quite a lot of hours last time. I mean, every time he came out of the pits, he was basically just in front or just behind us, so we definitely got to know each other's racecraft quite well, although in a much different situation this year. The Alfa Romeo seems to be up here more on a legitimate basis. As we're 5.5 seconds quicker through Sector 1. I mean, I know we were going to be quicker. You can see it from the standing start last time at 5.5 seconds. That is much quicker than in the dry, the time gained on the second lap. We really are just falling away from those cars in front. As the Renault, the Toyotas definitely, and the Red Bull all look to have a better downforce than Alfa Romeo, because our car, we've got more downforce on the car than what we had last year. But still, it is more, the straight line speed of this car is definitely our saving grace. As the cars in front just continue to pull further and further away. We pulled a little bit as you actually go purple through sector 2 when I completely missed my braking point, and I'm going to hopefully not spin it off the track, which you just managed to get the grip. So I was going to say the cars in front are pulling away. I've somehow managed to go purple through sector 2. I'm not quite sure how I've done that. I mean, Hulkenberg might be causing a little bit of beginning. You can look from the minimap, it's all still very close as it is on the second lap of the race. Well, Hulk is up front, he can dictate the pace to how he wants it. And moving a bit further on, looking now to Hulk's teammate Jean-Eric Verne here in the Renault, who's currently up behind Alex Albon in the second of the Red Bulls, and we've got one of the McLaren Renaults there, Haryanto up behind, looking very feisty now. And Haryanto in the switching, to try and get you around the outside line. Van's going to make it go the long way around into the braking zone. Haryanto's going to go for it though, keeping around the outside line, going to pinch the Renault there to the apex, side by side still. Haryanto going to make the moves through the years. He keeps side by side, and Van keeps the nose in, still keeping his side by side now through turn 3 in the west, side by side. Haryanto going to go the long way around the outside still. But has to give him room, going to keep his side by side still, and is still keeping his side by side, and still holding on, but just has to back out. It's a great driving there, honestly. Supreme driving from both these two. Haryanto fair play trying to hold it around the outside. Maybe in the dry, probably could have got that move to work. But in the wet, definitely not going to work there. And Verne just manages to hold position. Anyway, on to lap 7 of 33, we're now right behind the back of car 33 of Max Verstappen, so now that these tyres have come into their operating range, we've definitely managed to close into these group of cars in front, especially since Hulk's still leading this train, and I'm definitely convinced now he's holding us all up. I mean, it's up to him to dictate his pace. He's not exactly illegal blocking anyone, so he can go as fast or as slow as he wants. It's up to everyone else then to overtake him. We've got Verstappen right behind the back of Matsushita still, as we're 0.420 down on our best lap, so if there's any way to come back onto us, he would definitely the lap. And Verstappen, he can just sense he's so much faster than that Toyota in front of him. Just he hasn't got the engine power, the straight line speed to go with it that the Toyota has. And this just shows why Toyota didn't actually bring any upgrades for this weekend, because their car is just so good. They didn't actually need any. I look there inside of Verstappen, and he was compromising ourselves and taking a horrible line out through the chicane. I mean, there's no way we're going to catch Verstappen off guard. The amount of overtakes he's made in his already very short career so far. We're 1.2 seconds down on our best lap, so maybe he's getting towards the time for intermediates. It's a sort of, I won't say a dry line necessarily, but there's a move for the leader. Hamilton finally makes his way past the Renault of Hulkenberg. It took him onto the 8th lap of the race, but Hulkenberg finally has succumbed to the 2008 champion. I'm sure Hulkenberg not going to take that lying down. I'm not sure anything he can do, because the Toyota's already pulling away from Hulkenberg, so pretty sure that's Hamilton, well, he's up into the lead, but Hamilton, I'm expecting now, might just completely disappear off into the distance. As I was saying before, Toyota not bringing any upgrades this weekend, and they still look to be the class of the field. Although Renault, Red Bull look to be closer now. They definitely don't have the race pace. If they can, if we saw in qualifying, they're definitely closer. In the race, definitely still seems to be a different story. Well, Hulkenberg, can he do anything to come back against Lewis Hamilton? I'm pretty sure he can't. Because we're in the wet, we have no DRS, and honestly, I prefer races without DRS. It makes the driver actually have to fight for the overtake and actually earn their paycheck. And actually, it looks like you got a bit of side behind. It could be Matsushita just going defensive from the Red Bull of Matsushita behind. And the more Verstappen and Matsushita fight, the more this is just going to allow Hulk and Hamilton to pull away up in front. And we're coming through the final sector of the lap. Hamilton now, is it time for intermediates there? We've seen a definite dry line there appearing. Well, I say dry line, a drier line appearing. But now Hulk comes in, so is Hulk coming in for intermediates, or has he got a puncture maybe coming in for another set of wet? We have to see now. It's like Hulk's the only car actually coming in, so has he got some sort of drive-through penalty? I don't know. The team coming out for him. Yeah, the team now running out into the pit lane now. Hulk comes into his pit box, and what size is it going to be for him? When we sailed the intermediates, Hulk going very early, Hulk pulling the trigger. No one else is in the pit lane. Actually, okay, maybe a few of the cars further back are in the pit lane, but no one else from the front. Yeah, the front pack of cars at least is actually in the pits. No, and you've got all the other cars there coming out. It looks like the entire second half of the grid are now coming in. Are they going to be in for the AlphaTauri of Seti Camera? Yes, it is, and our teammate came over as well, going on to the Inters. So the second half of the grid now, all taking the rest, all putting pressure on the top half. That's sealed in now. We all have to pit at the end of this lap. We're all on as ever. All the second half of the grid is far the way back onto the track. Because now then, as they come back out now, we're about halfway around the lap, and all of us are still, like you see, on the wet tyres. Verstappen shooting like he's sliding all over, like we've lost a whole load of time now. He's up before we were right behind Verstappen, but now we're definitely on the wrong tyre now. Renault looks like they made the strategy call of the century there to try and give their driver back the lead of the Grand Prix. Now under heavy braking, you just try not to slide off the track, and we run out wide a little bit because these tyres really are gripping now. We're 2 seconds down on our best lap, and when you're losing 2 seconds on the same compound of tyre, then you know it's definitely time to pit. Because these wet tyres, if it was a wet race, these wet tyres would do the entire stint fine. You can probably do a fastest lap every time round if you get the rhythm. But now we saw they were boxing out, adding like a fair bit to the pit crew. And they're going to come in. Both the Toyotas are double stacking, so it looks like they've decided for Matsushita, yes, to bite the bullet, and maybe it's slowed. He probably tried to slow down as much as he could to try and limit his hold-up time. Now then, into the pit lane, and the pit limit is 49 miles an hour, so we're going for a racing number, at least the 49. I'm not complaining about that. And we go on to this all the intermediate tyres, and we don't get held in our pit box, so that's a great start there from Alfa Romeo. As we come out there behind the Red Bull of Verstappen, so no surprise there really. Came in behind him and come out behind him. And we got the Renault there of Hulkenberg coming through, so he's just going to get back ahead then of Verstappen once again, but surprisingly actually, he's still behind Hamilton. Hamilton putting a blinding in-lap, even on the wrong tyres. I think it's showing the dominance that that Toyota car actually has. And Canada, we got the fun job of getting a tight temperature, and unsurprisingly Matsushita have to double stack behind Lewis, and he's come out behind Shimi, yourself and Verstappen. And now further on, looking down the other end of the order, looking now at Seti Camera in the AlphaTauri cars, got one of the Mercedes there up behind him of Danny Kvyat, I think that is, last year's race winner. And barring some sort of divine intervention, Danny Kvyat's going to get nowhere near maybe even points, let alone actually the podium or a win. You've got the throw there, Charles Leclerc just up the road in front of this queue of cars. And now then we've got Kvyat there with using that AMG power, is going to pull to the inside of the AlphaTauri. It's going to blast past it pretty much like it's standing still. It's going to be an easy move for Danny Kvyat into turn 1. Seti Camera is going to try and fight it around the outside line. He's the Brazilian really putting himself on notice, putting Red Bull on notice as well about his driving skill. But in a straight line, the Honda power still seems to be no match for the AMG branded Mercedes engine in the back of the works car, of course, also in the back of the Aston Martin cars as well. And now, I mean, it's taken a while, but now we can finally see the first on-track battle between the former Dams teammates of last year, Sergio and Nicholas Latifi. Because last year it was easily advantage Seti Camera. I mean, the teammates and Sergio easily dominated the F2 season. But now the Williams car seems to be a better car than the AlphaTauri, though they seem to be somewhat evenly matched. Now these two, now they're finally, well, I would say they had a level playing field last season, but now in terms of Formula 1, it's going to be as close to a level playing field as you can actually get. And then down the straight, is he close to try and make a move? So you've got TDK actually looking possibly to try and come back. And Daniel Kvyat still not quite close enough there to make a move. He's got our teammate K-Mag got behind. And then I think you've got Russell in the other back at the back of these queue of cars. Of course, this isn't the queue of cars that actually... I don't think that this is the queue of cars for dead last. I'm not seeing where Gasly, Stroll, the other Ferrari, Vettel and all that are. As they're going the way through, the way through the final sector of the lap. Once again, of course, through here, absolutely no overtaking opportunities whatsoever, unless you're already going side by side in. I think it was last year, or was it 2018? I was going side by side with KBS and there was contact on the final lap. And down the straight is Latifi close enough to try and make a move. On SETI camera, you're getting it, of course, both these cars are Honda power, so there's going to be no advantage or disadvantage between the engine power, and SETI camera just passes the car perfectly in the middle of the track, because both the rookies in Formula 1 this season. They both spent a number of years in Formula 2. I think about the same years at least anyway. They finally got their big break now, and they're both showing why they deserve the Formula 1 seat. And they've got the TV still all up behind the back of the AlphaTauri, but once again, it's going to be the same story. Through this part of the lap, you're just going to have to follow him round. And on to lap 16, so near enough the halfway stage of the race. We've actually gone green through Sector 1, not through Sector 2 though. And the track definitely looks to be drying out. Trying to look over the long way, trying to take the karting line around the outside line of Verstappen. Verstappen though just able to hold it on the inside line. You get a little bit of a squirm though. Now we make our way through the middle sector at the end of the lap. And you can see, I'm convinced now that it's nearing time for dry tyres. And if everyone else pits in front of me, then DRS is actually no, that's the cue. They would take out the bollard, so hopefully you don't get a penalty for that. Because if you miss the commitment line, then you can get a 5-second penalty, or maybe even a drive-through. So it's going to be a bit severe. I think we just about managed to get away with that though. As now we've got Shimi right up behind us. And now we're going to be in for dry tyres now. This is where the strategy could come into play once again. You could go on soft and do a 2-stop from here, or you could go into a harder set of tyres and just go to the end of the race. As it's not the fastest stop there from Alfa Romeo. We've stuck them out there behind the Red Bull and in front of Shimi, so maintain position, so I can't really argue with that. And you come back out there onto the track, and what tyres are we on? We're on the hard tyres, so me and Verstappen going to the end of this race. Clearly saying that it's not worth making a 2-stop from here, because the time that you can gain really won't make it up, especially with half race to go. But Shimi though, Williams have put Mick Schumacher, I almost called him Michael there, on hard tyres, on the soft tyres, so he's going to be making another stop in the race, going to look to try and get past us. And if he tries to make a move on us, I don't really see a point in fighting in. There's still a few drops, so his tyres are going to be definitely going to get into their working range quicker than what ours are. But it's still all over the back here, off Max Verstappen. I'm trying to look for a way past the Dutchman canal. We're never getting onto drive, now we can show the pace this car had in qualifying. Hopefully it translates over into race pace as well, as it's clambering there all over the curbing. We're losing a bit of time to Verstappen. We've still got Shimi looking all over SOO. I can take some slightly compromised lines, but I don't mind it going past us. I want him to go past in a place that's convenient for us though. And they're going down into the braking area, not quite close enough yet. Shimi there, even with the DRS, because we've got DRS as well, we go pelting through Sector 2, which isn't a surprise, because right now is when we're going to have the absolute happy hour for fastest laps. I mean, not this time around, because everyone's just picked on this lap, but next time around, probably the few laps after that. It could be a happy hour, of course, since we're in place 4 of 20, so place 420. And that's twice now we've had a 420 moment in this race. Is this race trying to tell us something? Are we destined to finish it off? Maybe I'd like a podium at least anyway. And you come down around the final corner, Verstappen, he's not going to have any defence from us, but he managed to pull away a little bit still with the better downforce. We've got Mick Schumacher all over the back of us now, because we've got DRS as well, but no, we've got Shimi with the engine turned up probably to the maximum now. And we're going to try and make it possibly 3-way down into turn 1. Verstappen goes to face there from Schumacher. We try and sweep it back around the outside line of the defending champion, keeping his side there through turn 1 and turn 2. But Shimi though, with the extra traction from the soft tyres, managed to make the move stick on us. Like I said, I do not care about that one bit. No way Shimi's going to pull out 20 seconds on us. He's going to have to do absolutely something mental if he actually wants to pull out the 20-second gap. That his strategy, but he can pull out probably more like a 25-second, maybe even more than that gap to actually make his strategy work. He's got Matthew Shooter behind us on the hard tyre, so most of the top players going to the end of the race provisionally on the same tyres, because he could get a safety car or something later on, which could change the strategy. So maybe Williams are banking on a safety car or something. Again, around here, I mean, it's not out of the question, but it's still kind of a risky strategy. Shimmy all over the back of Max Verstappen. Now we use the German, going to try and go around the outside line here of Max Verstappen into the braking zone. Going to try and brake late, use the grip of his tyres to his advantage. You can try and sweep it around the outside line of the Red Bull. Verstappen keeps outside, but on the traction, Shimmy just gets close and actually cuts across the nose. I mean, he probably wasn't as close as it looked from this camera. I'm going to say Shimmy just chopped across the nose there of the Red Bull. And he's already pulling away from Verstappen, so you can see there the tyre advantage you obviously have with the softer compounds. But then, because we'll over the back of Verstappen, but Verstappen, though, annoyingly for us, is going to have DRS off the back of Mick Schumacher in front. And we're going to have our engine turned up, though. We are gaining on the back of the Red Bull, but we're not gaining, though, by enough. And coming down into turn one, we have a look inside, try and put Verstappen off. But like I said before, when you try and make an audacious move on Verstappen, he's made everything. He knows what move we're going to make before you've done it. But no, onto the end of that lap, the hard cut, onto the end of that lap, nothing happened, obviously. Around Spain, you have to follow through. This is a really only overtaking opportunity. He has Mick put on the first lap of the race, which isn't really a surprise. The point to the inside line, though, off Verstappen is going to breeze past the Red Bull, like he's standing still really low, like what Daniel Kvyat did to set a camera earlier on. The Honda engine still, it's an improvement from last year, that's easy to see, but still nothing quite like the Toyota engine, definitely, or our Ferrari engine. And then we're up now into P4, but realistically, we're in third. As we actually go fastest through Sector 1, so already Mick's tyres appear to be going off because we're on the 2 compound harder tyres, and we've just set the personal best first sector, and this is the time that Mick should be dominating. Well, going from one Williams to the other. At some point, Latifi's managed to get ahead of Sete Camera. I imagine that was probably through the pit stop phases, and both of them are on hard tyres, and both of them going to the end of the race. Now, Sete Camera with the DRS, can he make a move on his former Dams teammate from last year? He's going to have DRS open now, and he's really getting that on the Williams, actually getting loads. Must have that engine turned on, next VTEX kicked in. Going to go around the outside line of Latifi, that has absolutely no defence whatsoever. So Latifi, I mean, fair play, tried to defend to the inside line, but realistically, all he did was just give Sete Camera the ideal line just to breeze straight past him, so I mean, Latifi probably felt a bit useless in that moment. I'm surprised he didn't turn his engine up to try and defend as well. I think, are these on the verge of points? Maybe? They're going to be somewhere close if they're not, at least, anyway. Now, on to lap 22. Jimmy no longer has the fastest lap, so I'm guessing there's someone else out there on soft tyres as well. We come now into the third sector. We've got a second and a half gap over Matsushita. He's managed to overtake the Red Bull of Max Verstappen, and I'm sure that Matsushita is going to be making a massive charge after us now. I mean, I would like to get a first podium of the season, but realistically, once again, it's not going to happen here. Hulk's too far up the road, and Matsushita is going to be in a much faster car coming up behind us as well. But now then, Ishimi though comes into the pits, so pretty much showing that Williams have kind of actually shot themselves in the foot with this strategy. I don't really know whose idea that was, but they're definitely not going to be getting any sort of bonus after this race. It's to say whether Williams could have got their first podium of 2020, and now into the pits comes. You're going to go into a set of the medium tyres, which makes sense. I mean, I don't think he could have took a set of softs to the end. I mean, he didn't know he had another set of softs available. But you're going to cut up behind Albon, so Shimi now way down the order in what it's going to be like 9th or 10th, I think, somewhere around there. He could be on for a podium, maybe even better. Maybe he had the pace to try and chase down after Hulkenberg, you never know. But now Shimi with it all, absolutely all to do once again. And he's going to have to show why he's the defending world champion and why he won the championship last year and put in an absolute drive of his life. And it didn't take him too long though to catch up to the Red Bull of Albon. He's all over the back and trying to look at the inside line of Albon. But he couldn't quite squeeze his way there up the inside line. But Albon now in his second season at Red Bull, so he's had a year, or he's had half a year to get used to the Red Bull car. This season he's not really got any excuses to hide. As Shimi going to try and go around the outside line, sweep it around the outside line of the Red Bull. Trying to keep his side by side still with Alex Albon there has to concede the place. He might be in a faster car on paper, but definitely the tyre advantage for Shumi is coming through, so maybe the strategy actually maybe might work out. Maybe he's going to get back to where he was, but if you get back to like 5th place or 6th, then I would say that's probably where he would have finished anyway. So the strategy gamble, you know what, he might actually pay off. Because they're going to chase down after Vernon up in front. He's doing well. Vernon's having a much better race than what he was last year, where I think he finished in dead last place. So improvement is definitely for the Frenchman, proving not to be quite as a bogey track as it was for him last year. But the 100 power cars, there's no advantage or disadvantage between them. But now further on, looking now to the Aston Martin of Sergio Perez, who has our teammate K-Mag right behind him. Of course, all of the Kia cars, I think, are definitely going to be on hard tyres. If they're not, they've definitely made a pit. Well, they would have made a pit stop by now anyway. But now K-Mag with the DRS on the back of the Aston Martin. I think the Aston is one of the fastest cars in the straight line. Further behind, you've got Latifi. They're making a move on one of the Ferraris. They're coming down now into turn 1. Latifi on the inside line. Oh, Charles Leclerc. He made the move stick. The Canadian versus the Monegasque. Still keeping his side by side. Latifi going to try and go the long way around the outside. Which test the inside. Latifi manages to make the move stick on the Ferrari. What has happened to them? They went from last year. They won a race, and took a few points as well, and Leclerc did pretty good in the standings, but this year they seem to be absolutely nowhere. Looking down to the other end of the grid, we got Lance Stroll here in last place. He's actually coming up now to be lapped by Lewis Hamilton. But fair play to Stroll, he's not in the greatest race, that's for sure. But he lets the Toyota go through no issue. So fair play there to Lance, being respectful to the race leader. And he goes on like this. Hamilton is going to take, what's this, 4 from 4, I think he's going for now. And then looking on to Mick Schumacher on the medium tyres, he's still... Well, he's actually in the number time, so he's definitely dropped Albon. He got Werner up in front. As he's looking to come around, actually he's on the inside line. He's actually going slowly. He's got some kind of issue. He is. Mick Schumacher's pulling off, and the strategy gamble pays off and actually ends up being for nothing. But he pulled a massive gap to Albon, so I think that strategy could have worked. Now, I'm pretty sure that's going to have Williams nervous now, because looking at Latifi, the sole remaining Williams now, and Williams' only chance of scoring points now in this race rests on the shoulders here of the Canadian. He's all over the back of the Aston Martin of Sergio Perez, and Perez is at he's definitely been above expectations for the start of the season. I'm pretty sure Aston weren't expecting to get points, especially since they've had to build their own car. I mean, they built it, the chassis is their own. They built the design philosophy around last year's Toyota, which was a championship contending car. Maybe couldn't have gone for the championship if it went for the whole distance. On the back of the Aston Martin, we've got Latifi now with the DRS. He's trying to make a move on the Mexican. When you're going in the outside line, it's debutant versus returnee. Into turn 1, and can keep it side by side. Perez on the inside line. Latifi though looks like you got some better downforce on the Williams. We're going to keep it through. Perez is going to try and get sprinted by the pace. Squares to throw the keys through. Going to keep it side by side here around the outside line. Still side by side between the two of them. Latifi though, he proved to be some sort of a human highlight reel already in his already very short career. This being only his 4th race, even though it is round 5. Great move there from Latifi, and manages to make the move stick on Sergio Perez, but Perez is going to have some mega strength and speed in that Aston Martin, so Latifi's going to have to do the work to pull away through here. And on to lap 32. We've actually been catching up to Hulkenberg, so I don't know where Hulk's pace has gone, and I don't know how we've managed to keep ahead of Matsushita either. So maybe both of them are suffering some sort of tyre wear, maybe some damage or a car issue. We almost leave that over the curb. We're coming around the final corner. We've got 1 lap of the race left to go. And also I've noticed we've got the purple border around our name, so somehow we managed to actually set the fastest lap of the race. So our Alfa Romeo upgrades, they're definitely working for us at least anyway. Definitely not so much for K-Mag, although we both have the upgrades on our car. But looking up front though to Lewis Hamilton, who's not far off making it 4 wins from the first 4 races which have happened. And then they got half lap yet to go. Not seeing any cars up in front of them, so I don't think they have to worry about any lap traffic getting in the way. Hamilton, they'll actually say that there's a few cars there up in front, but I think they're far enough away to actually interfere with the championship leader, 2008 champion, and at this rate, going on to be the 2020 champion. I mean, I may have just jinxed it, commentator's curse, but then again, for once, I'm actually not going to complain about commentator's curse because I want to win the championship. And being beaten by Hamilton once again, I mean, of course, everyone wants to win a championship, but with the Toyotas are so dominant. I don't really see any way that Hamilton is going to lose it, especially with this early pace, and Toyota not brought any upgrades, and they're still going to dominate the field once again. Now Lewis Hamilton comes around the final corner, no dramas through there, and they're coming up then to the finish line. And Lewis Hamilton wins the Spanish Grand Prix. 4 wins from 4 races, but not quite fast. I'm going for a dive inside of Hulkenberg though. He's not over yet for 2nd place. He's going to try and keep it side by side with him. Hulkenberg squeeze us. They're going to try and hold it around the outside line in the German. Keep it side by side. Hulkenberg's going to squeeze us towards and go for the inside line. But we're not able to get the Hulk. Just manages to hold on to 2nd place. I don't know if he ran out of fuel or something, or just hit the cliff of tyre wear. We'll be getting so much time on him on the final lap. But P3, our first podium of 2020. I can't complain about that. I mean, he could have been 2nd place, but 3rd, getting a podium on the board finally for Alfa Romeo. Our upgrades coming through. As Lewis Hamilton celebrates victory once again. He's probably getting quite used to that in this season now, dominating so far in that Toyota car of his. Once again, the team seems absolutely elated with another win. Taking a look at the end results for the top 12, and Lewis Hamilton takes another convincing win. 15 seconds clear of Hulkenberg in the Renault, and we just have to settle for 3rd behind him, but we take the fastest lap, so we get an extra point for that at least. Matsushita finishes where he started in P4, with Max Verstappen 5th place, best result for Red Bull so far this season, with Vergne finishing down in 6th. Alex Albon holds on to 7th place, 5 seconds clear of Daniel Kvyat, putting a good turn of pace in the race. The teammate came out good recovery up into P9. The Tiffy running off the top 10. Sergio Perez in 11th. Ray Haryanto takes a point just for McLaren in 12th. Looking now at the points, and unsurprisingly it's Hamilton with a commanding lead. 37 points clear over Matsushita. You got Hulkenberg actually joined now with the Japanese driver on 60 points. Then we have Hulk's teammate Vern in P4 on 42. 2 points clear now of ourselves, and we're 57 points off the lead. Daniel Kvyat drops down into 6th place, joined with us, but with better result, we're in front. And then we have Verstappen up now into 7th place, 3 points clear of Sergio Perez, who's still just about 1 point, just about ahead of Albon now by 1 point. With Vettel dropping down now into 10th place, Latifi drops down to 11th, but he's still 2 points clear of former Dams teammate Sergio Sette, who drops down into 12th. And now moving on to the constructor standings. And Toyota unsurprisingly lead the way, and they're 55 points clear now of Renault, who really are cementing themselves in 2nd place. It's definitely much improved from last year where they finished 9th. Alfa Romeo get up now into 3rd place on 56 points, 5 points clear of Mercedes, who drop down now into P4. 5th place currently belongs to Red Bull on 42 points, and then now 12 points clear of Ferrari, who drop down into 6th. Williams remain in 7th. And 22 points ahead of McLaren, who are also there on 22. And we've got Aston Martin in P9 on 21, just about behind them, with AlphaTauri in last place, but the battle for 7th, so close so far, after the first 4 races for 5 rounds. So if you enjoyed the race, remember to leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Also, if you're watching this on PC or mobile, there'll be a link in the description to vote for your driver of the day for this race, so definitely go and vote for who you think did the best in this race. Also, there's going to be a link there to the wiki for this season, which is basically Wikipedia, but for fan-made stuff. So you've got wiki for this season, past seasons, every single team, every single driver to ever have competed in this series. And it always takes me, I mean, I've made that every single one all by myself, or was it 74 pages of it, and that took a load of time, so I definitely appreciate it if you went and give that a read as well. So that'll be linked in the comments. That'll be updated soon now after this race. Also, maybe even a sneak peek of what's coming up in the future there as well. So thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.